which ICE seems to be adopting.
Yes, now we move to some more US foreign policy moves, where in a diplomatic move, the US State Department has imposed fresh sanctions on top Cuban officials, including President Miguel Díaz-Canel, on the 4th anniversary of Cuba's 2021 anti-government protests. Announcing the measures, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, himself the son of Cuban immigrants, said the US is restricting visas for Diaz-Canel, the country's defense and interior ministers and other, quote, cronies of the regime for their role in suppressing peaceful demonstrators. Rubio also revealed that Cuba's luxury Torquay hotel has been added to the list of restricted properties, calling it a symbol of government excess, while ordinary Cubans face widespread shortages of food, medicine and electricity. 10 more regime-linked properties have been blacklisted under the US State Department's prohibited accommodations list, part of what Rubio called a message of solidarity with political prisoners and the Cuban people. We're once again joined by Rabinder Sachdev. Rabinder, how significant are these new sanctions, especially the visa restrictions on Diaz-Canel and other of these top Cuban officials? Will they have any real impact?
They would have some impact, little impact. I mean, in any case, the officials whose visas would not be issued or sanctioned are not going to be traveling to the US, right? So that doesn't have any effect other than symbolic. Yes, some of these sanctions on the hotel and those properties which you mentioned would impact the government in terms of its revenue and all. What is more important to me, it seems that this may be indicative of what is to come ahead. What it means, see, I mean, the protests were back in 21, right, after COVID, because Cubans were, fed up with COVID, shortage of medicine, shortage of food. So protests erupted across the country, saying no to the party or no to the Communist Party. And remember, Cuba is a single party system. No other political party is allowed. So there is no opposition as such party, right? So what this indicates also is that, the Cubans in exile, especially if in exile, or the Cuban immigrants in America, especially the ones in Florida, which includes Secretary of State Marco Rubio, they are now getting more active to bring more pressure on Cuba in the days ahead. That's what I would look at it as. Now, what can be the more harsher steps that the US can take? Well, more sanctions and more sanctions. But we don't know what Trump could pull out of the hat and maybe come up with something else. But Cuba, in any case, is under sanctions and isolated from the Americas. So in that sense, it doesn't make much of a difference. But yes, to my mind, it indicates that more harsher steps by the US could be forthcoming in times to come.
Rabinder Sachdev, pleasure having you on the program as always. Well.